Good evening and welcome to the Greg Tompsett Football Show. Tonight we are going to whip around all of the Week 10 action and tell you all the games that took place and what happened in them. We will start immediately with Thursday Night Football. Crazy back and forth game. When we came on in our preview, it was 14-7, and they scored a ton of points in the second half of that game. Ended up being 35-34. The Bengals went for two, went down and scored, went for two, and had a chance to take home a W. I don't think it's a nail in the coffin for Cincinnati because a lot of other teams continue to lose too. They are currently the 9th seed and a game behind Denver with Indy in between them and ahead of them. Their issue is they're 2-4 in the conference, and that is a really tough road to overcome. The Ravens are the top wildcard team because the Steelers continue to win. We'll get to their game in a bit here, but this was a crazy back and forth game and a lot of fun. Obviously, the Ravens are going to be squarely in the playoffs. If you made me pick right now, I'd guess they'd win enough, especially with 2 games against the Steelers left, that they'll still win that division. But they've continued to find ways to stub their toe against lesser opponents. So we'll see where that one goes. On Sunday morning, as we joked, we penalized the poor German people having to watch Giants-Panthers. I think technically the Giants won here because the Panthers won the football game and the Giants got the better draft pick out of it. The Giants are now tied with another team coming up here in a moment who are 2-8. The Panthers, shout out to Chuba Hubbard. 28 carries for 153 yards and a touchdown and just running like a man on fire in that game. Just got a new contract extension. Good for him. Miles Sanders got carted off at one point, so might be Chuba in the Jonathan Brooks show. But they figured out a way to now give Bryce Young a winning recipe to be able to play here. It's been against bad teams, against New Orleans and the Giants, but I guess it's better than being the embarrassment and maybe the worst football team in all of recent NFL history. So but some semblance of respectability, I guess I understand them wanting to have. The next game just pains me. The Denver Broncos did all the things right here. They played really tough, multiple stops against the Chiefs. They held them to 3 field goals in the red zone, including their one touchdown was also on a 4th down play. So they forced them into multiple tough spots. But look at these. It's a 36-yard field goal, 28-yard field goal, 20-yard field goal. Really tough stops in the red zone. Played very, very well. Again, their one touchdown was on a 4th down play. They got the plays needed at the end to set up for a game-winning field goal. 13 plays, 43 yards, ran the last 5 minutes and 57 seconds off the clock. They knew, hey, if you're playing Mahomes, you can't give the ball back, and they did it. Like they ran the ball, they forced them to burn their timeouts and got another first down and literally like kneeled it out to be in the right spot for a 35-yard gimme field goal. And the left side of their offensive line got crumpled like a soda can. And this was not on the kicker at all. Will Lutz could not have kicked it at a higher angle or anything. The left side of their offensive line got collapsed, and the Chiefs block the kick and remain undefeated. This would have been a really nice win for the Bills to make next week's game. The winner takes the number 1 seed. That won't be the case. Obviously, the Bills still are going to look to win next week and hope that the Chiefs lose some other game. Producer Chris and I were talking pre-show that I like to tell myself that at some point they're using up all their good luck finishes too early and they won't have enough left in the playoffs. But as he sadly reminded me, maybe 2 Super Bowls ago, he might believe that, but unfortunately, it's hard to argue with that logic. So again, the Broncos are a tough team. They played good enough to beat the Chiefs today, but just like multiple teams beforehand, the Chiefs found a way to win the game. Another game that would have benefited the Commanders. This was kind of debatable because I don't know if you want the Ravens to win the division or the Steelers, but getting AFC losses is never a bad thing. The Commanders kind of gagged this one away as well. Back and forth game. They had multiple opportunities here. They had a 10-point lead, regained the lead later, to put themselves back up by a touchdown. And Russell Wilson hit Mike Williams with a late touchdown in this game. And then Washington had the chance to come back and score. They actually even got the ball back again, multiple possessions and opportunities, could not convert and complete it. And Washington could not take down the Steelers, another team like the Chiefs who just always find a way to win, whether they deserve it or not. They just continue to be able to operate at a high level, and someone that is going to be a tough out in the playoffs, even though they don't seem like the most talented team per se. Not a pretty game, but Minnesota beat Jacksonville. This was a nasty game, and I'm glad I didn't watch all that much of it. They let Mac Jones almost win this game. They won on 4 field goals. Nobody got into the end zone. And Sam Darnold threw 3 interceptions. I feel bad. Like I think he's turning back into a pumpkin here, and just getting himself, back into that historic level of performance that we've seen previously. And a lot of people were hoping Kevin O'Connell and this offense and everything there would kind of make the better for it. But it seems like Sam's maybe seeing ghosts again. So we'll see where this one goes. Minnesota, again, it doesn't really matter. They're at 7-2. They've got themselves in position to do all the things that they want to do. Jacksonville basically played this perfect. Their fans got a fun, competitive game that they hung in there the whole time and had a chance to win, and a late interception is what sealed it. But they got the loss needed to now be tied with New York for the worst record in the league and have a chance at the number 1 overall pick in the draft. So not a lot else you can wish for there, other than that kind of performance for them. So they're checking the boxes. Another ugly game. New Orleans found a way to beat Atlanta. Atlanta continues to look the part mostly, but now lets those teams kind of hang around in the NFC South here. Tampa Bay's now still 2 games back and hanging around New Orleans, clawing back out of the doldrums after losing to Carolina. This is a game where Atlanta had a lot of opportunities. They needed a couple 4th down conversions for the couple scores that they had. Bijan Robinson punched one in, and then had a late touchdown to be able to bring them back within a 1-score game, but just let two Marquez Valdes-Scantling touchdowns put away their hopes too early in this game, and New Orleans kind of trying to claw back into it. Similarly, another ugly game here. Some weird infighting on the sideline. Deebo Samuel was going at the kicker and long snapper because they missed 3 field goals, is my understanding, in the game today. And let's look that up and confirm. Yeah, he was 3 out of 6 in this game. They ended up still finding a way to hold on for a win. Christian McCaffrey, understandably his first game back in a while. And, with all the Achilles challenges and issues, obviously 3 yards per carry isn't going to get it done, but it's against a Vita Vea defense, and understandable. He did have 6 catches for 68 yards, so easing back into the performance. I think, better days ahead, and they got the win, still kind of maintaining where they're at. Baker, fighting against obviously a really tough San Francisco defense, short all of his offensive weapons, just some running backs and tight ends trying to make the best of it, but just couldn't quite get it done at the end to be able to take it home. Another game where, draft status be damned, the New England Patriots beat the Chicago Bears, a team that needed this win, facing a team that doesn't really have a lot of incentive to win here. Drake May, I don't think, was perfect, but made a handful of plays, ran around a little bit. Ramondre Stevenson ran tough, and the Bears putting up 3 points against this New England defense that has gotten, taken to the woodshed a couple times in some of their games. 3.7 yards a carry. Caleb 16 of 30, giving up 9 sacks. This is the one area that I'm not ready to make big time judgments on Caleb Williams right now, because he's running for his life in most of these games. And again, today, 9 sacks given up. I'm just not ready to lay that all at his feet of what we're going to see in the future. But right now it's not good enough. And that was the team that had expectations coming into this season, and good for the Patriots ruining that draft pick and getting a meaningless win here in late November. That's always enjoyable. Titans Chargers, again, a similar game where We talked about it in the preview show. The Titans are a team that is better than their record belies. They made some plays here. Calvin Ridley scored 2 touchdowns. Their defense made some plays, but the Chargers just made enough to go down there. One of the better games I've seen from Justin Herbert, showing his athleticism and capabilities outside the pocket. I like what Greg Roman's having him do on offense, and they're continuing to find tough ways to win. And this Chargers defense is, I think, sneaky better than people realize. This is another game less than 20 points given up. I think at one point they had given up the fewest in the league. I'm not sure if it's still the least points overall. Let me look real quick. Yeah, they've still given up the least points, and by a healthy amount. So they have given up 118, and the next teams are the Steelers at 146, the Lions at 148. So that they have by far given up the fewest points in the NFL. So something that they should certainly be proud of, and will make them competitive here late in the year. In a blowout that many of us did see coming, the Philadelphia Eagles destroyed the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys offense never had any semblance of a chance here. They put up 146 yards of offense in an NFL football game, 11 first downs. It was miserable, and I think some of that was actually on a late garbage drive as well. That late in this game, they moved the ball a little bit. They actually even benched Cooper Rush and brought in Trey Lance for a late drive, and he, of course, threw an interception. This was just an embarrassing performance by the Cowboys. The Eagles should have dominated this game, and good for them, they did. That's all you can really ask for in some of these matchups, that you do what you're expected to do. They came in and just lambasted the Cowboys. This was a real low, and Chris and I exchanged a couple fun messages making fun of Jerry Jones, and he got into it with his media of covering the team, asking about the sun coming in and obviously building the stadium the way that they did, where the sun just comes right in as it's setting in the Texas sky here. It's just hysterical that they spend $1 billion and couldn't have just turned it 90 degrees to not have to deal with that. It's hysterical. I actually, the thing I enjoy most is thinking about Jerry Jones trying to figure out which architect was in charge of not noticing that, and like trying to ruin that person's life. That makes me giggle a little bit, thinking of Jerry Jones plotting revenge on the person who embarrassed him and makes him have to answer those questions. The last game of the day today was just a really enjoyable performance. The Arizona Cardinals embarrassed the New York Jets. This was just a thorough butt whooping in every sense of the term. And you look at this win percentage here, it just was out of hand early. At halftime, they had it down there almost in the 90 percentile range. Just an absolute embarrassing performance by the New York Jets. People got excited last week that they're upset of the Houston Texans. You know, that they're right now back into it, 3-6. They're 3-7. They are an absolute embarrassment here. Aaron Rodgers was screaming at people on the sideline. They let the Arizona Cardinals rush for 147 yards and 3 touchdowns. Kyler Murray, 22 of 24. This is on a Giants defense, their Jets defense, that's vaunted and supposed to be, this really powerful unit. And the Arizona Cardinals come in and just absolutely embarrass you. So that should be the nail in their coffin here. Tonight, obviously, as we are finishing up here and heading back to watch the second half of this matchup, the Texans got a really important score towards the end of the half, put them up. You know, they're up 17 points. I think this is going to be tough. The Lions are really, really good. They can put up a huge wave of points at any point, but Houston's playing really good right now. I'll be shocked if they come back and finish this. So hopefully I get to be wrong about that and I get to be shocked, but right now it looks like the Texans are just the better team as they go into tonight. And then tomorrow night we have Dolphins, Rams, obviously easy rooting interest, similar to laughing at the Jets today against the Cardinals. I'd love to see the NFC West team just smack down our division rival and put a nail in their coffin as well. So thanks for checking out everything that we have going on here. All kinds of fun stuff happening across Cover One. Make sure to check out all the shows. Tons of good stuff. We'll have Kent Swanson, the KC Sports Network, on with Aaron and I to preview Bills Chiefs. They'll have the film breakdown from Aaron and Anthony, all kinds of good stuff from the guys at Air Raid Hour and Roundup and Under Review and the whole team here. Make sure to check everything out. But on behalf of fantastic producer Chris Seth, I am Greg Tompsett. You've been listening to the Greg Tompsett Football Show, and we are out.